Can you believe a rent-to-own company is taking advantage of their customers? What? That's like McDonald's selling hamburgers. I mean, I could see that coming. I mean, it's rent to own, but we're gonna jump into why these companies like Divvy and others are in this rent to own business for homes, trying to convince you that it's a great idea. And I'm gonna just lay out the math. My name is Orlando. Welcome to the channel, guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. Also, check in the description, check in the pinned comment, and join my newsletter, guys. I promise you, it will give you additional info that you guys will love. But let's jump into it, guys. It says, Divvy wants to make rent-to-own deals easy. Many customers find them hard. Oh boy. Well, I mean, it is rent to own, guys. Rent to own is something I just don't support. I just don't. And I know, someone's gonna be in my comment section saying, Orlando, in this 0.001%, exception to the rule, a person made it out and it worked. And that may be true, but we're talking about majority of people. And let's be clear on these rent to own places. If you are going to do a rent to own on the biggest purchase of your life, then why wouldn't you do it on some Jordans?
From Nike.
Why wouldn't you do it on a PS5? I mean, it's the same business model. You do know that, right? So if you do a rent to own on a home, it's the same model that if you were to go to Rent-A-Center. Yeah, I know. I know, it sounds crazy, right? Why would a company like Divvy use the same business model as like a Rent-A-Center? What? Why would they do that? Money. Mr. and Mrs. Fred, a couple, signed a 3-year lease with an option to buy a split-level house from Divvy Homes, one of the nation's largest rent-to-own companies. But almost from the moment the Freds moved into their 30-year-old home in Georgia, it was plagued by problems. Rainwater often seeped in, the electrical system was faulty, some appliances didn't even work, and mold was spreading on the walls. When it flooded, you could feel the water squishing underneath the floor tiles, Mrs. Fred said, who works for the Department of Homeland Security. This is one of the issues that I have with rent to own. You have to understand that these rent to own companies, no matter what they say, no matter how they promote to you guys, they are in the business of making money. What is the quickest way to cut corners and make as much profit as you possibly can? Don't fix issues.
Oh, okay.
That's what happened in this scenario. They didn't fix anything. So it's not a surprise that there was mold growing on the wall. It's not a surprise that the tile was leaking, the roof was leaking, it had foundation issues. But this is something that if you're going to purchase a home and you're gonna do a rent to own, maybe before you sign a lease to rent to own, you sign on that contract, you go ahead and have an inspection done on the property. Not an inspection that is paid for by Divvy. Money. Because I can almost promise you, Divvy went through his, yep, roof, oh, it's collapsing. Yep, it looks good. Foundation, I mean, there's a crack, but it's good. They went through and told them everything is good. Our technicians that are hired by us, who are really employees by us, said everything looks good. You'll have no problems. This property here, you're getting a great deal. That's what they told him, and they fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Rent to own is like going to buy a $5 value meal and then accepting that you're gonna get an overdraft fee of $35.
I think we need to move Lonzo.
That ain't no problem.
Huh?
That ain't no problem.
That's what rent to own is. You're literally paying $40 for a $5 value meal.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's what rent to own is like to me. It really is, guys. 800% right around the corner. You're paying exit fees to get out. You're paying relisting fees. You're not going to get your deposit back. They're going to hold everything. And I can almost promise you, you're paying more than you are in rent.
You are one pathetic loser.
This is the problem with rent to own. Rent to owning is like owning a home and renting at the same time. I know that sounds crazy. What? Did you see what I did there? It's like renting and owning. That's the two words together. Rent to own. It's like you're doing both of them. A portion of each month's rent check towards the down payment of a home. I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, that sounds like a good idea. If I'm in a situation where I can't afford a home, meaning I can't come up with a down payment, maybe it's a good idea for me to rent, and a portion of the rent that I'm giving will go towards a down payment.
All right.
Now that sounds great, but here's the question you should ask yourself. Why would Divvy do that? Why would Divvy allow you to give up a portion of your rent for a down payment of a home? I don't know. Maybe because they're a great company. Maybe because corporations like these, they're loyal to you. Maybe because they want to help you and your family get into your first home, have some equity in there, and put you in a great position. Well, we'll keep reading. The mandatory down payment works like a forced savings plan, making it easier for customers to secure potential mortgage. Oh, but here we go. Though customers who don't buy a home get most of that money back, they also are on the hook for a relisting fee equal to 2% of what Divvy paid for the home? In this same exact sentence, the sentence basically says, sorry, you get nothing back.
You get nothing. You lose.
And as it says, though the customers who don't buy get most of their money back, then it right after that sentence, it says they also are on the hook for a relisting fee. But the relisting fee is pretty much all of the money, especially if you only been there for 1, maybe 2 years, that you have been forced to save. So it's pretty much a wash to begin with. So you're saving money. You say, you know what, this isn't for me in 2 years. Do you get that money back? Yes. After we deduct the relisting fee, which is 2% of what's the name? So let's just do some quick math. They bought the home for $100,000. That's $2,000.
Quick math.
That's $2,000. And if they're taking a portion of your what's the name in the whole year, your forced savings account is probably close to that $2,000, maybe a little less. But the point is that is wiped clean. It's gone. The $2,000 that you saved, that you were forced to save, the relisting fee just eradicated that.
He got cooked.
Oh, but Divvy aren't doing this out of the kindness of their heart. They're not doing it because let's look here. But Divvy's mandatory savings plan also means that renters have a far higher monthly outlay compared with customers of other rent-to-own firms. The higher payments have become a struggle for some customers, especially because of rapid inflation. Now, remember when I'm telling you guys, food, gas, and everything else is super, super high. So you have all this stuff going up high, you have wages that are stagnant, and then you have Divvy over here charging you an exorbitant amount for rent. You would say,
Orlando, how much can the rent be? How much extra are they charging for?
in some instances, $300 to $400.
Damn!
Some instances, it may be higher than that, than what the market rent is. And they get to charge you extra rent because guess what? You want to own this property. Guess what? It's the pleasure. You get the pleasure of doing business with Divvy in a rent-to-own situation where they're going to rake you over the coals in a monthly rent. And then they're going to tell you, we're charging you higher monthly rent because we're forcing you to save money that you're going to give back to us in a broken relisting fee. Then it says the Freights, who were both employed, moved into the Georgia home in May 2022. They said that they had been referred to Divvy by a real estate broker. Who worked closely with the company at the time. The company said they were living in the U.S. Virgin Islands, so they relied on Divvy's recommended home inspector to tell them if the house passed muster. Guys, listen, I said at the very beginning of this video, and to be honest, I didn't read this portion. This is my first, look, I know these guys. They're gonna use their own inspectors, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. Never, let me say this, never use their home inspector. You're purchasing the home. Use your own inspector.
Use your common sense.
How can you trust the guy that they say that there is an independent guy who actually is an employee for them and works for them tell you?
I'm the spy.
His job says, home inspector, tell them everything is okay with Divvy. That's what his this job description says. Divvy purchased the house for $284,000 and then rented it to the Frets for $25.30 a month, higher than the medium home price of $21.90 in Atlanta, with the option to buy it for $347,000. So you see what Divvy did there? Not only are they charging them a ridiculous amount for the rent, it's an elevated rent for the situation that they're in, but the house is pretty much broken. Roof, everything that is super important to a home, foundation, flooring, all of these things are broken. Thousands of dollars, not just $2,000 here. We're talking about $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 worth of work that has to be done to this home that they didn't even fix. And they're charging them an additional to buy the home 22% over what they bought it for. By the time that they would have got the property fixed, by the time that they would have paid that overprice, the 22% and the rent included, they could have bought 2 homes. 2. Then we go to Joe. Joe moved out of a Divvy home that he had been renting in University Heights, Ohio, after reaching a settlement with the company. A lot of settlements, huh? But if you go by what they're saying, they're helping everybody. But they're giving out settlements for doing the right thing, right? I mean, that's how they would say it. And then it says that Mr. Grosky, an insurance claim manager, said that he had become frustrated trying to get Divvy to address a persistent water problem in the basement in the Cleveland home. There is no way that I'm going to purchase this house with those issues. Now, do you guys think that that's crazy? Why would someone purchase something knowing that there's a water issue, knowing that the roof is messed up, knowing that it's going to cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars? Why? And then at the end of the day, guys, you know what Divvy told this man? This is their customer that they're trying to give them a home. They're trying to put them in a better position based on what Divvy says their motto is. They said maintenance issues that he encountered is representative of conditions that older Ohio homes are susceptible to. They basically said, yeah, he lives in Ohio, so he's got those are regular issues. Yep, Ohio, sorry. And this is who certain individuals will think that this company will help them purchase a home, that this company is by their side and will help them, put them in a better situation. At the end of the day, you can make whatever decision you want, but don't say that I didn't give you the information on rent to own and why it's a bad decision for most people. For most people, it's a horrible decision. You will be better off getting your credit together, your financial stuff together, and then going about it the right way, rather than thinking you can take some shortcuts and not get charged on the other end by these companies like Divvy. So as always, guys, I hope you got value out of this content. Make sure you check out this video. I promise you, it will give you information on the housing market, financial news, get into your first rental property, and I promise you the information you will get from this video, it will be gold.